with ended up moving out there, and it's where it's all everybody wants to be.
California is nice. I mean, it's nice, but it's also not nice. It has its goods and bads, pros and cons.
It attracts everybody that likes the good weather, and that's kind of everyone. So it's a good mix for sure, right?
It's also really expensive. Well, I mean, if you want to live on the coast or in the bay or something, it's very expensive.
Yeah, probably like 3-4 times. The rent out here is like 1,200 a month or so, usually for like a small type flat, and you can get apartments for like $900. I'm sure it's like double, triple that out there.
Yeah, your prices are similar to what we have in Fresno. Like we had a two bedroom, pretty nice apartment for I don't know, $700-800.
That's about the same.
Yeah, in San Francisco, it's 12. It's 15, 16, 17 for a tiny studio. So yeah, it's like triple.
Right on. So the ego. We're gonna talk about the ego, right?
Yep.
The old. I was just doing a little bit of. You know me, always thinking into shit. I did a little etymology on ego.
Oh yeah.
And it says from 1714, it was a term in metaphysics for the self, that which feels, acts, or thinks. And it comes from Latin ego, meaning I, just I, the letter I.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't really used as a sense of conceit until 1891. It was just kind of a concept. It wasn't necessarily, I don't know, I think ego kind of carries a real negative connotation.
Yeah, it does now. It probably, when it was first conceived of, it probably just kind of meant personality.
Yeah.
Personality construct, you know?
Indeed.
And our present definition includes personality construct, but it also includes, I think it includes the sense of I or the sense of a conscious witness, but I'm not 100% sure if the present definition includes that or not. I know that's in my definition of it.
Indeed.
And of course we have.
I think it is.
We have.
Makes sense.
We have the Freudian definition of ego.
He's got his super ego, part of the psyche which controls the impulses of the id.
Or the
have you heard of it?
The id is the personal ego, right? Or ID?
Well, I looked that up too. The id is basically ID, but it comes from Latin. It means it, and it's from a pronominal stem I. It says like, see the word yon, and yon is like he, basically.
Ah.
But I thought this was really interesting. What I found out is id is in some other words, like idol, for example.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, what does idol really mean? I always wondered that, like, hear that in the Bible in church. I was raised Roman Catholic, so I was just like, had that hammered in, don't worship false idols. Like, what is an idol? You think it's like an object or a statue if you look up the definition. But what does it really mean? And so it's id and ol. And turns out those are both roots that exist. And ol means oil.
Oil?
Or like oil. Yeah. And I'm like, so what does oil come from? Oil, the word oil actually comes from the word olive. And it's originally just from the olive tree. And the olive oil is the oil that symbolizes peace. That's why they use an olive branch for the peace portion of, like, I think it's in like our national seal or something too, or it's supposed to be, or it used to be, I don't know, peace. And so the id is a sense of I, or the, okay?
Huh?
I feel like
you're kind of breaking up a little bit.
Or breaking up, right?
Yeah, Your bars are red and yellow. They don't look healthy.
Yeah, I don't know what to. I have happy internet. Let me switch my wall. Is that better? You have me now?
Yeah, you're good right now. The bars are still red, but as far as the stream itself, it looks clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know what got conveyed and what didn't there.
You were talking about it and all coming from olive, coming from olive tree, coming from meaning peace, right?
Yeah, yeah. So the oil, I don't know, it just kind of rang a bell for me, like Christ is the anointed one, supposedly in the story, you know?
Yeah.
What does that mean? And it's the oil. He's anointed with oil in the story. So it's the eye and the oil. So an idol is literally means the eye has been anointed.
So it could be a way of making the Christ consciousness accessible to the individual rather than this lofty pedestal, unattainable kind of thing that is not. It's not everybody's conception of it, but I know a lot of people feel like Christ consciousness is something that not everyone is worthy of, or it's hard to get, or it's far away. So maybe that interpretation brings it closer. You're breaking up again.
You're breaking up. Yep.
I have Starbucks internet, so mine should be like flawless, but I don't know for sure.
Mine is. Yeah, you're good now, but I didn't have anything for like a minute, and it's frozen now again.
Is it coming from my end? Does it look like it's coming from my end?
Ah, jeez. I should be good. I don't know what the deal is.
Maybe if I hold it up. It's showing on my end. It looks like yours is red.
I don't even have bars anywhere to look at. I don't know what you're looking at.
It's just on the. It's on the
gallery view.
The zoom. It's on the zoom window, like the bottom left corner.
There's like different options. That's as good as I can get because that's my. The best I could do is maybe turn the modem off and try to restart it.
You're good now. It might be kind of sketchy.
For how long? All right. Damn technology.
I mean, I'm pretty. I've been pretty good. I know a lot of people when they try to make these things, there's just all sorts of interference and nonsense. So I'm happy that I've been kind of free of that for the most part.
That's good. Focus on the good stuff for sure.
But yeah, in the Bible, I think we got the conception that idol always meant some physical thing. Like we were given that all these physical statues and people supposedly worshiping those things, but it just becomes. I feel like in today's time, the idols are. It's all the stuff that we have, all of the technology, all of the tools and the instant gratification things that are everywhere. Those are the idols. Those are the things that keep you from actually going internal and finding what you are at your core.
Yeah. Which is everything. Yeah. I think that's what people like really. It was never meant physically. It was always metaphysically. It was always esoteric knowledge of parables of what's really going on inside, not so much people are all, wanting to debate whether or not it actually took place. And same with the Bhagavad Gita. It's knowledge, like these battles that Arjuna goes through and stuff, it's not it's a deeper, it doesn't mean what it says. So it's all, cryptic.
Yeah, it's all metaphysical. It's all metaphysical. The whole thing. And I think the physicality acts as a perfect distraction to the true spiritual, because that's what we are given. We are sold as that is the reality. And then, of course, being that you can grab onto things, right? And you can get hurt, you can get physically hurt, then it seems like the most real thing until you actually, commence your search, if you want to call it that, until you actually meditate, until you actually go within and find out personally, firsthand, like what's going on in there. You don't need anybody to tell you what you're finding. Like, it's just there. You see it or you don't.
Yeah. You don't need a book to help you interpret like what you're feeling, and it's all inside. You got to go within.
Right.
For sure.
And even I think we misinterpret that as well a bit, because we feel. I know when I first heard of all this stuff, I thought, oh, it means go inside of myself, like inside of my body. And while that is true to an extent, I feel like it also means go within as far as the present moment, including everything that's in the present moment, which includes the external. Like, that's a way of going within while retaining the physicality, retaining the world, but you're also not separating that out as some bad thing or something that you need to destroy. You're able to accept that as inner as well.
Do you think there's like a common desire among people to want to understand themselves better, or do you think that some people just don't care, or are you kind of thinking that they're just brainwashed to not care?
I think there are a lot of automaton-looking people out there. There is a lot of robotic behavior. I feel that for those who are truly purely trying to discover what's going on without being tainted by all kinds of bullshit, those ones find whatever they're looking for no matter what. Like, that's what the Bible verse means. It says, search and ye shall find. Like, there's nothing ambiguous about that statement. It says search and you'll find it.
Yeah.
It doesn't it doesn't give you a billion different things to recite, or you don't have to, there's no path. That's the thing, is there is not a path. It's you.
A string of events, string of decisions.
Right.
That lead to definite results.
Right. Like, that's the scientific method mindset coming in and trying to act like it's spiritual. And it's not like that. Being alive is not like that. Being alive isn't even linear. It's not linear until you start chopping it up into hours and seconds and deadlines and plans and all that. Simply being alive in the moment is one thing that appears to move all the time. Your internet connection is unstable. Maybe it's mine. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you now. It chopped out for a second.
I'll just keep elevating the laptop. I really need to find a better place to do this, because I know also when I'm sitting here in the car and I move it around, it scrapes on my clothes and it makes this horrendous screeching noise for you guys. But I'd prefer to do this than be at home with those guys, and they make all kinds of noise, and it's noisy no matter where you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I lost you.
Yeah,
I think.
it looks like it's gonna be sketchy. How about that? So, what are your thoughts? How did you come to your search?
I don't know.
You didn't know?
I suppose just my whole life, the world didn't really seem to be in alignment with what made sense to me. Like, I never, I don't know. I never understood how it wasn't obvious to people that you need to just, like, good is good and bad is bad. And until I got older and started making my own mistakes and screwing things up and getting caught up in trouble, and when I got through, and then just discover later, like, things are so simple that I've brought on all my own negative qualities, and I can get rid of them just the same, and I might as well work towards that. And then I guess I kind of just bought all the bullshit from school, and I ended up, like, going to university and studying psychology mostly, and business a little bit, and I had my own little landscaping gig or whatever. But I got it realizing at school that what they were teaching me about business was nothing that would help me in business at all. That all the knowledge that you need in this world, like, you have to go out and get it yourself. You have to actually look up the information, to the questions that people are actually asking, and that's how you, I mean, the diploma and all that, it's all good and great, but it doesn't, at the end of the day, prove your knowledge. Your knowledge is the only thing that can do that. So, dropped out of school, just realizing this is just a waste of my time. It's not part of what I want, and I started asking more questions, like, so if they're just our time, why are they keeping us preoccupied? What did? And then I started just doing all kinds of research and looking up stuff. And that was like 9 years ago. And since then, I studied, like, 9/11. I watched. Have you ever seen the Zeitgeist film?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was years back, right?
I don't hear you. I don't know.
It's the connection. I wonder if I can, like, relocate
But
myself.
yeah, so if you can,
I can hear you.
Am I chopping up?
A little bit.
Or am I coming across smooth?
Your signal is just, like, changing colors on me. If it's white, I think it means it's healthy, and then it goes yellow, then it goes...
Should we just try to disconnect and reconnect and see if that makes a difference?
We could try it.
All right, so do I just leave meeting and then rejoin?
Yeah, try that.
Okay. I'm doing that right now.
Okay. I need better internet, you guys. Do you want to leave and join this meeting? Yes. Okay.
If that doesn't make a difference, then I'll do it on my phone, which is not connected to my home Wi-Fi, and it might be faster.
Okay.
Is that better, though?
This feels better off the bat, yeah. But I don't know for sure. Could be mine. I don't know. I'll just continue holding it.
Seems better.
Yeah.
So far.
My laptop is a little warm as well. While it's topping my lap. Yeah,
they do heat up. I guess if you get an SSD drive though. It shouldn't get too hot.
Solid state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I hear. I want to get one, but I don't have an extra $400 lying around.
Most people don't. So yeah, so you basically learned that colleges teach you nothing about how to actually interact in the
Well, the idea of the college for me was to get a job or something, or like, I didn't want a job though from the get-go. I wanted to own my own business. I would always own my own business. I never wanted to work for anybody ever, because my first job was I worked in the cafeteria in my junior high and served food to the kids when I was at lunchtime. And then I got a job at Taco Bell in like high school and worked at Taco Bell for a year. And then I started selling Christmas trees at a Christmas tree lot, and a friend of mine had a landscaping business, and he had me help him with his landscaping business. And then he moved to California and gave me his lawnmower and his weed whacker and his blower, and he just gave me like 4 of his clients that he had left. And so I started doing that, and then I just kept building it, and I just never stopped. I'm still doing it.
Oh, nice. So you're able to support yourself off of your landscaping business.
Myself, my wife, my daughter, my household.
Does your wife work?
No.
Oh wow, that's good. That's a good thing. I feel like a lot of the traditional values that
yes and no. She has a job that she works at a portrait studio on weekends, just like kind of to have something to do. But the income's not really like awesome. But she has a couple other things going on. But she's a photographer and she's been a student of like Reiki, like what you do.
Yeah.
Reiki and like natural healing and stuff. She's been going to school for that for years, just learning and learning and learning. Not for the diploma, just for the knowledge, which is awesome. And she does yoga and
right.
She's a master.
Right. Yeah, the Reiki, when you feel the calling, that's an actual school as opposed to the actual school where you don't learn anything. When you go to become a Reiki master, it's all only information that you need and literally nothing else. And it doesn't take too long. It's like $1,000. It's very affordable. And it's just like outside of the scope of this, because it's just this systematic machine that does what it does and removes the reality from life is like the easiest way to describe it. It turns it into like bits and numbers and processes, and it just removes the humanity from actual life. It's kind of ridiculous. But we do have these holistic practices like Reiki, like yoga, chiropractic, it's the same thing. There's a whole bunch of them.
Acupuncture, acupressure.
Yeah, right. There's so much. And even like the Chinese, they have their stretches and things that you see them doing these on the corner. Like the wisdom is out there, but it's just like you can't get it if you go to school. You will remove yourself from the possibility of seeing that wisdom for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, and you'll be compartmentalized into your own little box.
Yeah,
of where they want you to be, and you'll just know what's in that box, and you'll know nothing else.
Right. And that's like when my video on NPCs. That's that concept. It's the concept of the human being allowing themselves to be molded by the beast system. Basically, it's a beast system that just wants to take energy and doesn't have anything for humans. It's humans that allowed themselves to do that and decided that sort of overlay fake reality was more real than like their own heart and flesh and blood and feelings of love, feelings of care and compassion, which actually make us alive. We're nothing without that. But this is the humans that decided that they're going to go for the fake overlay.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, at least to my eyes, that's what comprises the majority of the population right now, because I see them all the time. I have 50 of them in my car per day. They're mostly that. I don't run into people that I can just have a deep conversation with daily, It's a rarity.
Yeah, but I wonder, like, when you do you even know it?
I do.
Or are you
I do.
Expecting them not to be.
No,
so you just don't see it when they come.
No, they like radiate energy or something. When I get them like 1 out of every 100 people, and they hop in, and we just start talking like we've known each other, right? We start talking like we've known each other for 100 years, and then we have an amazing conversation, and then they leave. Like, I don't even sit there and act like we need to become friends or something. It's just like that's how it's supposed to be, in my eyes. You're red again.
I'm gonna switch to my phone because I pretty much caught every word you say by miracle, but I want to see if the phone can work better. I don't know how are you screen recording it or something?
Yeah, I'm just recording like the middle portion of the screen.
And you just edit it. All right. I'm gonna sign out and click back in from the phone.
If you come in from your phone, it will still appear the same to me. It will look the same.
But it might be faster because it might be a more stable connection.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Or might, yeah, you know what I mean. All right. Because
yeah.
Let's see.
You are the host. I am the host. This host needs a haircut. And a beard cut. You know, I need to buy a mic. I need to buy a mic, like one of these handy dandy things that reduce the ambient noise, and all this scraping that the laptop does won't be so annoying. So if someone wants to buy me a mic, go for it. Need a haircut. I need a haircut. Here we are. In Starbucks. I mean, I could just walk over to Starbucks and start having this conversation over there. Might upset the people, though. What are these people talking about? I got a check in the mail for $18. Turns out I won something in the Blitz portion, which was nice. I guess I could just continue the show by myself. Snail Show with Gary. I'm gonna bust out the drone today, so I'm having jacks, so I'm gonna try the drone out and upload that if all works well. I suspect he might come back on the computer. Can you send thing? Yes. Yes, I can. Send the thing.
Okay, are we back?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So
Is that smoother?
We're on your phone now?
Yeah.
Your hand is taking up the whole screen. It froze.
They're better.
Yeah, it already froze off the get-go, so I'm not sure if that will be any better or not, but who knows?
Okay.
We'll do the best we can.
Give it a minute. I see bars now. There's bars. You have yellow bars.
Yeah.
Now they're white.
White is good. If they're white, I think that means health.
Oops.
I think.
Finger in front of the camera.
And Adam has left the can.
What?
It's a sketchy connection, that's all.
It's a sketchy connection.
It
all
is.
Right, then I'm going to go back to the computer, and then we'll just leave it there.
I mean, we can try this.
I just thought it would be better, hopefully, because we tried both links, now we know. Are you moving?
Am I moving? Yeah, I'm driving at the same time.
I just saw... You're driving right now? No.
No.
I just saw something move by on your back window. It looked like you're going...
Yeah, no, there are people. Like, you see there's people.
Yep.
There are people out here.
Nice.
No, I'm not moving. I'm sitting still. The laptop is moving because I'm elevating it so it doesn't overheat. But you see, that thing that you, like what we're doing now, figuring out the problem and trying things, that's how all of life itself is, and you don't learn any of that in school.
No.
It never, like, the stuff never really works right. The guides never really know. You know, if you buy a machine and it comes with a guide, like, it doesn't really ever work. If it stops working, you just figure it out and you troubleshoot and you do all kinds of different shit until it works again. That's how the whole thing is.
Yep. Yep, that was the fun growing up. They made stuff so crappy in the 90s. We had to, like, fix everything and, like, re-rig it and learn how to do all that stuff, jerry-rigging everything.
Yeah. MacGyver?
I won't drive a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles on it because I like to MacGyver stuff.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. You see, like, I feel like as a society, at least in this realm, the technology has far surpassed the human in the human development. And there's also, like, nefarious things going on as well, that, you know, energy harvesting and all that. So there's a reason for dumbing down and all that. But as far as the spirituality of the individual human, the human can't even handle all of this technology that they have. They don't even know what to do with it. They don't have any creativity to do something with the technology. They're just sitting there like, yum, 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 like I eat all of these notifications and I just post boring pictures of the boring things that I'm doing. You know, like the human spiritual development has to match the technology, otherwise there's no point in it for the human. Maybe for entities that are stealing energy, maybe there's a point for them, but if that's the case and if that's what's going on, then we have to be privy to that as well and understand what that is and what is our place with relation to that as well.
Yeah, I think that's something I have not looked into enough to really speak on very well, but the whole concept of entities that are not part of consciousness seems to be rather perplexing to me and sort of oxymoronical.
Yeah.
Because if it does, I mean, how can that exist if it's not part of consciousness? I can see that a lot of people don't realize they're part of consciousness, so they're not really tapped into it. They're not really drawing from it. They're not using their emotional guidance system, so to speak, because they aren't aware that their emotions are also a choice, not just a reaction, and that they, you know, determine your direction that your ego navigates through life. I don't know where I was going with that.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. It's hard to imagine an entity that could steal energy that is not sort of similar to us as far as how we're conscious. But it's not that they're not conscious; it's that they are not human. Like, they're not empathetic. They are not. They're
narcissistic.
They're narcissistic. Like, they just eat stuff. Like, they want to eat things. Like, they're hungry, so they want to eat. It's like a psychopath. Like, if you consider psychopaths that you see at large, that's what they do. They steal energy. Like, a rape is just energy. It's a stealing of energy, right? You're stealing that energy from the woman. And if you take that concept and move beyond,
or vice versa,
right? And I don't sit here and fully believe that these sort of alien entities are stealing energy, but there's enough evidence to me that, because if you take the realm and you say, okay, I don't understand 99% of what's going on in here. Like, it makes no logical sense. What's going on in government? What's going on with the destruction of the earth, what's going on with consumerism as like a nationality, as an ideology? If nothing is making sense whatsoever on the surface, then to me it means that there is something hiding underneath the surface. That's a logical explanation for me. So
yeah.
So having even if you call them interdimensional parasite, like how Og calls it, it makes sense because it's some force that is acting as a black hole and it's sucking, and you have homelessness and you have poor people, even though we have this vast wealth of technology, which should make everybody have tons of wealth because we've figured everything out technology-wise, but we still have people being homeless on the streets. You see, like, there's a logical disconnect. It's logical disconnect.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So that's why I go so far to believe, I mean, like I said, I don't hold hard beliefs, but a logical explanation that says this parasitic entity is hiding under a dimension and eating energy like that, I'm like, yeah, okay, that makes sense because nothing here makes sense.
I think it makes a lot of sense, and I think that I guess I would see that too, and I would take it another step, I guess, and say I see those entities as maybe sort of like dogs under the dinner table, and
yeah,
they're eating all of the stuff that is the best stuff, and we're just giving it to them, and because something has convinced us that what we're getting isn't, good enough, and we always want more, and we're never happy with what we have, and yet we're the only ones that actually have the energy that they can take, and if we don't give it to them, they just cease to exist. And They can't make us give it to them, and they can't take it from us, but they can sure, tell us that they can, and tell us that they are, and tell us that they will, and they can use all these word spells on us, and if we buy into it, then boom, we've given them our energy.
Right. That's why I always emphasize the personal responsibility aspect of being alive and being a human, because we are powerful. It's just that you're taught from day one that you're a piece of shit and you don't deserve to exist, that you're full of sin and you need to be basically repaired before you can even deserve to exist. Like, all of that nonsense is crammed down your throat from day one, no matter what religion you're following. Even Buddhism, which touts itself as a peaceful religion, even Buddhism says you're still not proper as you are. You need to achieve nirvana, and you need to get... Everything is saying you need to get away from what you are here, and you need to achieve something else. You need to go somewhere else. You need to transform. You need to ascend. It's always selling you the story that you are not proper as you are. You're not correct. There's something wrong with you. You got to change it. And therefore, you're never at peace.
Did you ever do that?
Huh?
Maybe it's kind of an indirect message. I don't know that any religion actually comes out and says that you need to do anything, but maybe I'm just
not if you study it.
Not right there.
Not if you...
Do they really say you need to be enlightened and you need to be
Probably not. It probably doesn't say it directly. It's,
I don't know.
It's in. I think it's inferred, and like that. That's the subconscious message that gets across. At least to me, I always got the message that I was incorrect. Like I was just wrong. There's something wrong with me, and I need to get fixed somehow. And then once I get fixed, then I can start living. I guess I don't know. Even your bank account does the same thing. It says you're not correct. There's not enough numbers in that account, so you're not correct. You're correct once the numbers are in there. Your thing is going bad.
Yeah, it was really bad there. It's all red bars on. It shows your bars are all red, and now they're yellow. But I don't know if those are your bars or if those are my bars. But they're right next to your name, so I don't know.
I think
I don't have my own bars.
Your bars are on my end. I see yours. You see mine. Every time we're saying something important, you know, the dogs are like, "Oh, our food's gonna get taken away if this information gets out." You know. I always think it's funny. I don't even necessarily buy into that. I don't necessarily buy into that either, but I know that like everyone's like, oh well, you know, you get out there and you start talking this and that, and then the entities get upset and they'll fuck with the connections and all that. It's possible.
I'm gonna join from the computer. It's horrible.
Okay. This is the most trouble I've had with a Snail Show, I think. We're getting some sort of interference. Now he's calling the meeting on my phone. Okay. All right, let's see. So difficult.
Are we back? Okay. that seems better yet again.
We're back for 5 minutes. Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
It's much better for me my audio on the computer is a lot higher quality too. So
yeah, I agree.
This will be better for me for sure.
I agree.
Than the phone was. All right, so you were saying.
I don't remember. What was I saying?
Well, we basically just let's just go with the segue. We were going off about technology and it fucking with the truth.
Yeah. Even that, you know, I say that jokingly, but to my perspective, we create our reality, right? You say that yourself, right?
Yeah.
So every time you allow a fear element or a suspicious element to reside in your head, you are creating that reality for yourself. Like, if I sit here and say, well, the internet connection's bad, so there are entities attacking me. Okay, well, I'm making that happen.
Yep.
So, like, there's an element of play where you can play and you can say, okay, well, there are entities doing it. And there may well be entities doing it, but still, like, you have to go search them out. Like, if they're not sitting here visible to you, that they're in your imagination and they might as well not exist. So you might just stop believing in them and then you'll stop getting fucked with.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried that one? Like, you got to explore your reality and see like what's actually happening and what's not. Because
I've really done the shit out of that kind of exploration, that sort of experimentation where I do the weirdest things, man. I will have faith in stuff that just like want something to happen, and I'm unstable. Connection unstable.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're back.
Very
okay.
unstable.
So I've I enjoy that. Like, I've come to find that whenever I get into a slump or something kind of negative pops up and I start to focus on it because I need to solve it, you know, as long as I stay solution oriented, then it, you know, keeps going uphill and it comes out. But as soon as I start, you know, absorbing myself in for other things that are going wrong, then I start finding more and more things going wrong. And when I focus on like being positive and just accepting and allowing and kind of just, you know, this is the ocean, it's going that way. I want to go the other way, but shit, I'm going this way with it for now. Yeah. And just move with it. I find that when I'm not resistant to the sea of consciousness, if you will, that I don't get destroyed and my little boat survives quite well. Right. And it actually grows and becomes a vessel and it becomes stronger. So, yeah, man, I've been practicing messing with reality for like 10 years, but more so in the past five or so. But I've done it with my business. I've done it with my family. I do it with everything now. Like I think of life that way.
Yeah, right. I think that's a healthy way to think about it, because you're actually exploring your own life. You're not exploring a story or a history book thing or a guide or a manual. There is no guide. There is no manual. There are things available that you can maybe take tidbits from, or like, for instance, I like the golden rule from the Bible. I like that concept, and I apply that in my life. I like that. But some of the other stuff, like pit of hell and all this other, you know, sort of, there's incest in the Bible. There's like people. Negativity. Yeah, there's raping and killing and possessiveness and slaves. There's all that shit right there in the Bible. So it's like, do I want to take that or not? I have the choice.
You do.
Right?
And also, there's fighting and killing in the Bhagavad Gita too. And I never really, and then reading the book I have, I don't know if you saw that video where I showed the book, but it has for every verse this other guy that I'm not going to try to pronounce his name, has like a commentary of like a whole like page for every freaking sentence, and he just breaks it down like really well, and it makes a lot of sense. And it's not about killing, it's about like transforming the ego. And like, so like there's words that the deeper meaning of it in the Bhagavad Gita is much deeper, but no, don't do that to the Bible. Don't read into our Bible. It's to be taken literally.
Right.
Literally, it's the word of God, and it is the word of God per se, but you're putting limits on God that shouldn't be limits. God is consciousness, like it has no limits. So maybe those stories about those things, and I'm just speculating here, some of them, maybe all of them, perhaps, are not to be taken at face value, and you're not to do those things. But another conception is that the New Testament for Christians totally outweighs the Old, and all that bad stuff was in the Old Testament, and Christ came and saved us all so that we wouldn't have to follow that law anymore. We just are saved, supposedly, you know, just by understanding that the way that Christ lived his life was the best path.
Yeah. You can
all take and open getting that. In Bhagavad Gita, it's the spiritual connection, and it's truly much deeper of a book than I ever thought, because I was brainwashed with the book growing up. And I think that perhaps now that I'm coming back to it on my truth journey, I'm seeing that it is not what I thought it was at all. And especially with, I don't know if you know of Marty Leeds 33. He does a lot of gematria and numerology, and he's finding all these codes in the book that are just so blatantly obvious. So many coincidences
in the Bible or the Bhagavad Gita.
The Bible, and okay. The Bhagavad Gita. I don't think Sanskrit has numerals that work on their letters. They don't have a language where there's a numerology. There's no numerical characters assigned to Sanskrit letters, as far as I've been able to research. And then that's another thing. The English language has only been around for a while, yet we're going off of gematria from the English language, which did not exist at the writing of the Bible. So how can we say any of that has any bearing on the original truth? At the same, so these codes were put in by the makers of the current language, the Freemasons, or if you will, the Vatican, the Council of Nicaea, like the people that wrote the Bible into our language. That's where the codes are. That's where all these so they picked the words and found a way to get the numbers to match up.
Yeah.
And like the Jesus Christ, if you be three, and it's a two-sided coin. Let's not get too far off track, Adam. But referring to myself in the third person.
It's all good. Whatever floats your boat. Whatever floats your ego.
Oh, that seems it pretty quick.
Whatever floats your Adam ego boat.
Yep. Adam's ego journey, really. I'm aware of it, at least. I think that people are like, oh yeah, I don't think for my ego at all. Like, I'm just not about the ego, man. I'm totally not egocentric. And it's like, dude, that's your ego talking right now. You're just not aware of it. At least if you say I am, you're aware.
Right. No, I mean, I'm pretty sure the ego is the only one that does speak words, You could even bring it to that level. Like, the personality is the fucking ego. It's the presence that you feel within, and underneath that, that's like what you would call yourself. The thing that's yapping just is ego. It's like I said before, it's like garments that are worn by this unseen presence. It's what ego is. It's personality.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. It's just that, like, if you don't know what it is and you haven't looked into it and explored and seen, like, how, like, a little bastard it can be, it can be cunning little... The mind can take you and send you for a trip for 10 years and you sit there, you get bashed around. You don't even realize what's going on. Like, you have to be careful about it.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad...
I like the analogy from the Gita where the ego's the chariot driver and you are, the master that sits behind him and tells him what to do and where to go.
Yeah.
But sometimes he can take control and just do whatever he wants, and you're out of control, and you can take the back seat and just you'll be inside your body your whole life being like, I don't like this sucks, and you'll be depressed.
Right.
And that's what depression is the ego has taken control and fucked up everything.
Right.
And your higher self is just sitting back watching, feeling all the negative consequences of it, wishing that it could speak up and do something about it.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good analogy because, I mean, there's a distinctive, like, tangible feeling difference between when your own self is operating from mainly ego, personality, greedy kind of things versus spirit or invisible or source or whatever. There's a tangible difference in how your whole life lives itself out. Completely different. So it's like, do you want to have this thing which is very tiny and greedy and wants to have everything for itself? Do you want that thing to, like, run your life? It will isolate you from everybody else. It won't actually give you anything besides fear and anxiety. Like, do you really want that? That's what you have to look into. And you can't look into it unless you kind of know of ego. You know of the concept. You have done the etymology work. You've looked internally to see what is ego. Like, what am I? Am I the hand? Am I the eyeball? Am I the hair? You do all these things and you start. It is a lifelong journey, but at some point it becomes fairly clear as to what is really going on. It's not that complicated.
No, it doesn't become, though. They just never see it, or they see it and they ignore it, I guess. But I think at some point, even if it's on their deathbed, they eventually have to give into that realization.
Well, all the ego stuff passes away. I mean, that's the ephemeral is it goes away. Nobody can hold on to it. Nobody can hold on to personalities. Nobody can hold on to possessions. You can't. I mean, that's literally what goes away. It turns into dust. It's not there anymore.
Yeah. You can hold on to experiences, well, through memories. And I think
While you're here.
that's another thing for me. When I dropped out of school, I was like, I could see the paths, and I could see the path of going to school and becoming a psychologist, and it could have been really cool. And and it probably still would have been pretty cool because I would have done it my way, I suppose. Hopefully, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't think it can never have the potential that I currently have, because currently I am my own thing, and I have no seat. Like, the sky is my limit. It's not somebody else deciding what's good enough. I don't have to report to somebody before I post a video that it's good enough, or that it'll get lots of thumbs ups or not, or I don't have to ask anybody but my higher self, like, what I want to do and what tomorrow will. So at this time, there's responsibility there. People sometimes, they just want to have a job where they just, someone tells them what to do, and they don't actually have to put in any work to get the work, but they don't see that they're doing work anyways. Might as well do both sides.
Right. I think some people, they have believed this idea that they're not creative, right?
You doing the Uber thing, that's pretty a lot of freedom there. You get to choose who you know. Sure, sometimes somebody comes up and you're like, yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, there's no freedom in Uber as far as like having who comes in the car and the route. I don't have freedom in that. The freedom I have is that there's not a boss telling me what to do, and I'm literally sitting in my car and chilling and listening to music. Like, that's where the freedom is. I'm like exploring the city basically. It's not, it's not my, it's still not my ideal spot, and I'm gonna, I'm in the process of getting out of that. But I was also in a spot, I was married for 12 years, and that suppressed everything. All of the creativity parts of me were suppressed during that, so I'm barely coming out of that. Just I'm a little over a year into that freedom in and of itself. So it will just take a little bit of time for the other aspects of my life to catch up.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I appreciate your humility always, and your authenticity is definitely heartfelt, man, in all your videos, and that's awesome.
Yeah. I just do me. That's all. I'm like the least agendaed person you could possibly find anywhere.
You don't have an agenda?
Not that I know of. Maybe there's one hiding in there somewhere. I don't know.
I think there must be, or you wouldn't be here.
I mean,
we all have a purpose, I think.
My explicit stated agenda is basically to help heal this realm. I know that's definitely a major part of it. I mean, I have an agenda to be creative. And when I say creative, I mean allowing every aspect that appears to my eyes, and not simply rejecting it, or simply rejecting a belief system outright because I don't like a piece of it. That creativity includes that, including individuals, where some other people will say, this guy is a shill, this guy is a government agent, this guy is nefarious being, don't talk to him. Like, I don't do that. I'll talk to everybody.
Kind of chopping up there.
Yeah. Chop it up. Sounds like a drug term. That's what it used to come from. That's where that term came from.
What?
These gangbangers will say they're going to chop
what
it
term?
Up. Chop it up.
Yeah.
Like, that's in a gangster terminology, when someone says, we're going to chop it up, they mean they're going to talk and, shoot the shit, basically, like have a conversation.
Yeah.
But the root
That's what I thought.
The root of that word or words comes from like chopping up cocaine or whatever, like on the thing. But it morphed into we're gonna chop it up.
Like do some drugs and talk and hang out.
Yeah. Right.
Oh my God.
I think the etymology stuff is really, it's always fascinating, I think.
Do you?
Yeah.
I do too. I'm always blown away because I use words. I'm an avid language user, and I communicate with other humans
Right.
in the realm. And when I say things, sometimes I'm like, wait a second. I don't know what that very simple word really fucking means. Like very simple words. I'll be like, what does he actually mean? Like,
yeah, well, we haven't looked into it. For the most part, we haven't looked into it. We don't know what the fuck we're saying, really. It's like words, 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 and it's like, wait, what am I saying? What am I really saying? I don't know.
We use context to figure it out, and that gives us a basis. But then we use dictionaries, and we get the definition, and then I learned about etymology. My 7th grade, I was in like AA, and I don't know, it was just some advanced English or whatever. We learned etymology in the advanced class, but never in any regular English class at my school was that ever taught or brought up.
Yeah.
That these words have original meanings, and that means that's their true meanings. And most people, it just never sinks in. And I've been accused of, because I talk about etymology on some videos, I've recently been accused of trying to undo human evolution because I'm reverting to old meanings for their meaning. Nice. And they're saying, no, it just means what it means today. That's the evolved meaning. So you're trying to take us all backwards. And it made me think. And I'm like, perhaps I am trying to take us all backwards so that we can get back to the truth and then start going forward from there with the right, you know, understanding. That's my agenda.
Yeah.
If you will.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's people are used to being scared of everything. You know? Like,
and we're scared. The only thing that can be scared is what we cannot see. Like, we're afraid of the dark, and that's the most common thing as children, because we don't know what's there. It's not that something's there that could hurt us. It's that it's just the not knowing thing that makes us afraid. And I think that's a gift from Source, because if you're not afraid of not knowing, then you don't have the other side of the coin to motivate you to the joy of finding out.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean that's duality. Duality everything needs a counterbalance to like make things actually move. Otherwise, you won't move. You'll just sit and be in your Buddha state. You know, you'll be home. Like you won't do anything. You won't even exist. So there's some of that needed.
I had sort of a Buddha experience like a year and a half ago. I was meditating in my backyard, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, I just started laughing so hard.
Yeah.
And you just, I know you've been there, Gary. But it's just realizing that everything is literally like melting together, and everything's connected in just one constant stream or ocean of connected energy that we call consciousness.
Yeah.
And that's, for me, what now I came to kind of define God as that consciousness that is our inner light, our inner being at its most deepest core. And that's another thing I want to talk to you about is Christians have a big problem with self-love. Yet they understand that Christ is in their heart, and at their deepest core is the Christ consciousness, or just consciousness, if you like, of goodness. That's the deepest part of who we are, because we want to be happy. And when you self-love, I feel like that's, if you truly understand like what's best for you, then you want love, and you want to love unconditionally, and you get that back when you do so, because you get everything back. And when you truly self-love, then you truly love others. So it's like they don't go deep enough to see that it's kind of the same thing when you really get down to the core of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
but maybe I'm missing something too. I always try to leave that on the table as well. I always put that card out. Like,
yeah, right. That's a good one to have. It's a good to be able to say like, I don't know even is a good trait. I think it's a good character trait. But I don't feel like that's a super difficult one. The Christianity one, the ones that basically self doubt themselves all the time, because if you take Christianity as its given literal biblical text, you have the original sinner thing and you have the flawed self thing, and I think that they carry that. They embody that flawed aspect, and Christ becomes super externalized and kind of really far away, and they're sitting and percolating in this I am not worthy or I am not enough sort of mindset. And until they die and reach heaven, in that, when you're doing that mindset, then they're always going to be in that state of lack. It's just I see it with my own eyeballs with people around me. I see that they have that self-doubt and they're not practicing self-love, and they're practicing this sort of hypocritical judging of everyone else. That's just what I see with my eyes. I don't know for sure if that's the exact correct definition of or interpretation of what you're asking, but that's what I see.
No, totally. You are nailing it. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
And the only way I deal with those people is I stay an example of someone who does practice self-love, and I don't judge them for what they're doing, because, I see this whole realm life thing as like it allows everything. It allows every type of possible manifestation to happen, including one where you're practicing religious things that have you actually being hypocritical and judgmental while inside you feel like you're being saved. It includes all possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And I respect that. If people are doing that, if they feel that that's correct, then so be it. It doesn't change how I'm going to treat them, but I can respect whatever is going on there.
Can you hold on a second, Gary?
Yeah. Pacing match between Pockets of the Future and a plaintruth.info. Matt's channel always has something funny going on.
I'm back. I had to use the loo.
The loo, yeah. We actually got to wrap it up because my laptop's gonna die pretty soon.
Okay, bud.
And we're past an hour, but
Okay.
Yeah, no. Thank you for coming on. It was really really good. I'll have you back on again for sure, because you're very open-minded, and that's a rare thing, even among the truther community. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't believe Flat Earth didn't come up, because I wanted to address my point to you on that, because I feel like some of that's been out there, but we'll have to save that for next time.
Next time we'll talk about Flat Earth.
Alrighty.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. Enjoy the rest of your day, Gary. Thank you.
You too. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah.
Bye. Adam and Eve.